right, my friends. I just pressed the Let's Go Live button, and it's a beautiful Friday. That means we are about to get started. As soon as those interwebs connect themselves, hopefully they have not ended the week yet because we've got business to attend to today. And it looks like we are connected. Wow, that was quick. All right. That means we can go ahead and get started. So let's do it, shall we? Hello, my friends, and welcome back to yet another episode of Watching the Watchers Live, the show that spotlights misconduct involving police, prosecutors, and politicians. My name is Robert Gouveia. I am a criminal defense attorney, and today we're talking about Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, quaking in his boots. He's getting a little bit nervous out there because Congress has now passed the contempt resolution, the first step towards holding him in actual contempt. And we're going to have a bunch of litigation over this, no doubt about it. But we know we're talking about the Robert Hur report. Remember this guy who sat down with Joe Biden, had a conversation with him about his classified documents when he was not the president, when he had no right to these documents, no declassification powers, nothing of the sort, but no criminal charges for him. Why? How come? Well, because he said, Robert Hur, that Joe Biden was just kind of a confused elderly old man. Nobody would believe that there was criminality behind what he did, and they decided not to indict him. Well, Trump got indicted, and now the Republicans are striking back, and they have demanded the audio, not just the transcripts, which have been released, but the full audio, so we can hear exactly how demented and confused and elderly Joe Biden is. Now, the House Oversight Committee, they came out, they passed this resolution recommending that he be held in contempt. So we'll see where it goes from there. We also have Merrick Garland very upset about this, and he almost never talks like this unscripted to the media. You can see right here, he's getting the hand motion out. It's like coming out now. So very upset about this. And it's wild. He just says that what Congress, which is a co-equal branch of government, by the way, they sent him a subpoena, and he just said it's not legitimate. You know who's sitting in prison right now because they said a subpoena was illegitimate? Peter Navarro. Yeah. And Steve Bannon's on his way. So it's wild that some people, I guess once you're in the position of power, you get to decide what's legitimate and not legitimate. But if you are a former executive branch person, no longer in power, you don't get the same benefit and you go to prison. So it was a meltdown yesterday. This woman, you know who she is, man. It was ordinarily, it's against my better judgment to play her because our ears just sort of catch fire instantly. But we're going to listen to it today because it's just absolutely out of control. Just shows what kind of Congress we have, and it's not good. So we'll watch it. Now, then we'll read through the actual contempt resolution report that has come out from the Oversight Committee and see what is inside. There is some good stuff in there just about how corrupt this is. Merrick Garland supposed to be giving them following subpoenas. He's prosecuting people for not following subpoenas, but he's not doing that. We have the White House saying, you are not getting this audio, okay, over our cold, dead fingers. And we're like, yeah, that's what we want to make sure that no one's dead over there. So can we listen to the audio? So we're not going to get it from the White House. They say, pound sand, get bent. You're not getting it. And Karine came out. You can see her face like, yeah, gosh, I'm going to have to say the same thing again. Yeah, you're going to have to, Karine. So we're going to go through all that in the first segment before we jump into Fani Land. Oh, my gosh. So Fani Land, she's also upset. She is raging at the congressional investigation that is now coming her way. We've got some great senators. We know them as Grassley and Johnson, who hold a lot of people's feet to the fire, in particular the FBI and other corrupt entities within our so-called law enforcement institutions. We got two senators who just go hard, and we have a new inquisition from them against Fani. And so they sent a letter out from the Senate. We'll take a look at what's inside and read what they've uncovered and what they're demanding from her in her office. She doesn't care about it. She was out saying, I'm sorry that they're peed off. My mom hates when I say that word, so I try to not to say it because she gets mad at me. Rob, that's potty language. Okay, I know, Mom, sorry. So, you know, she uses it. I'm not supposed to use it. My mama taught me better than that. But she says that sorry that they're all angry with me for not complying with them. And she says, I don't need no daddies out there. Okay, we don't need daddies in our business. So get out of here. So we'll listen to her. Now, several appeals are making their way through the court system. And we know that the Court of Appeals in Georgia has granted permission for the appeal. And now the appeals are coming in hot, or the notices of appeal, rather. And it's a complicated process there in Georgia. So we'll break down what's happening. And then we'll see what Trump's notice of appeal looks like, what Michael Roman's notice of appeal looks like, and some others, David Schaefer's. So we'll go through that. And then it's funny because Fani, she was out talking to the police, law enforcement, and she was crying in front of them. I'm not joking. She starts crying. You guys protected me when I was on a cruise in Belize. You made sure no one raided my house. Or when I was in Napa Valley, you guys came and you checked the mail for me. Thank you. I love you. All right, so we're going to go through that and see what she's so upset about. Hall in Fannyland. Before we turn our attention to Tish James, and Tish James is now under fire also from Congress. This time it's from the House of Representatives. Jim Jordan on Judiciary has sent this letter over to her and is demanding to know more about this guy. Matthew Colangelo, of course, Biden's prosecutor, who used to work for Obama before he worked for Tish, before he worked for Biden, before he worked for Bragg. He is now under some scrutiny from Congress. Jim Jordan wants to know, what was he doing at Tish's office? We want some information about it. So we'll see what his letter says, and then we'll see what Jordan says in response. And so, as you can see, my beautiful friends, we got some business to attend to today. 3 good segments that we're excited to get to. Before we jump into any of it, we got to make sure that we're properly prepared for whatever the heck is coming down the pike next. We've had a lot of headlines here talking about the bird flu situation, Governor Whitmer's creating some new guidelines and all this stuff. It is getting complicated out there. Feels like deja vu all over again. And we remember the last pandemic, many of us not prepared. We should be. And to do that, we need to have life-saving medications on hand, not just remedies. We need lifelines the next time this happens. And so that could happen any day now. It's an election season. We know how this stuff goes. And so let me tell you about our friends at the Wellness Company. They have prescription contagion emergency kits, the only kit of its kind that is a prescription contagion emergency kit. It is carefully crafted, hand-selected medications that will help you in different situations. Bird flu pops up, respiratory illnesses, you never know what you're going to need. So it comes with ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, Zipac, Tamiflu. We got budesonide. That always is hard for me. And it's a nebulizer, so you have this stuff on hand. You have a guidebook, so you know how to use it. This stuff is all backed by research from Dr. Peter McCullough. You know who he is. And so this contagion kit is a must-have. Every American should have at least one kit in their home. Ordering yours takes less than 2 minutes. Super simple. Go to www.twc.health/Robert and use code Robert. That way you'll save on your order and you'll get free shipping. Very simple to do it. twc.health/Robert. Use code Robert at checkout. And these kits are only available in the United States. And it's great to be prepared, my friends. The Wellness Company will help you do it. So thanks for supporting them and our show. All right. So now, my friends, without any further ado, it is time to get into it because we've got business to attend to. It's Friday, but we're not done yet. All right. Starting with Merrick Garland getting a little bit nervous out there. Congress is acting to hold him in contempt. A resolution just passed. We're going to read through what is inside. Some of the findings from Congress saying that this guy's, not complying with a lawful subpoena from Congress. And we know that the DOJ is prosecuting and has prosecuted and is imprisoning other people who have declined to comply with congressional subpoenas. Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro. Navarro's in custody right now. They want Steve Bannon to join him. So Garland's out. You can see he's now waving his hand. He gets a little bit flustered here. He almost never talks to the media. And now he is responding to what Congress is doing because the Oversight Committee, they came out. They were very excited about this last night. It was a meltdown in Congress. We're going to watch this clip as they're debating this stuff. But the Oversight Committee came out and they said, oh boy, the Oversight Committee, our committee has passed a resolution and a report recommending Attorney General Merrick Garland be held in contempt of Congress for defying a subpoena. They say accountability is here. Well, we'll see if he indicts himself, I guess, or somebody indicts him because others have gotten indicted, like Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro, who's in prison right now. So we'll see where this ultimately goes, but that is a big moment, and Merrick Garland is not happy about this. So he came out, he talked to the media. We'll see what he says before we go into this congressional meltdown where we have our representative scholars articulating the future of America amongst themselves. But Charlie Kirk clicked this one for us. And this was the scene outside in Washington. Merrick Garland. This is about as angry as you'll ever see him. Okay, he doesn't hardly talk much. He's kind of just a puppet master who moves around from room to room. I really think Lisa Monaco, Barack Obama, these people are ultimately leading the policy decisions here. But Merrick Garland is about as agitated and animated. You might even feel like he's got a little quiver, a little shake in his voice, like he's shaking a little bit. He's here he is.
The Justice Department is a fundamental institution of our democracy. People depend on us to ensure that our investigations and our prosecutions are conducted according to the facts and the law and without political influence.
Let me restart that because it's just insane what he's saying.
The Justice Department is a fundamental institution of our democracy.
Yeah.
People depend on...
So that is the same excuse as to why you cannot criticize it. If it's a fundamental institution of our democracy, you cannot condemn it or criticize it or hold it accountable at all. And if you do, you're attacking our democracy. This is the same thing that they're doing in numerous other domains. You can't attack democracy. You can't criticize democracy lest you be aiding Putin.
On us to ensure that our investigations and our prosecutions are conducted according to the facts and the law and without political influence.
Yeah, well then why did you indict Trump after Joe Biden whined about it to the New York Times, Merrick?
We have gone to extraordinary lengths to ensure that the committees get responses to their legitimate requests. But this is not one.
Okay, who decided that? You did. Merrick Garland decided that. He is not the unilateral dictator of this country. We have a co-equal division of power in this country amongst our three co-equal branches, and they are now saying that their branch is superior to the Congressional branch. And this is the chief law enforcement officer of the United States making this point.
To the contrary, this is one that would harm our ability in the future to successfully pursue sensitive investigations.
He gets to decide. There's no due process about it. He's not going to prosecute himself. He is at the top. There's no one to prosecute him. He gives the order to prosecute Navarro. He gives the order to prosecute Bannon, says he okays, thumbs those up. Now on this one, he can just decline.
Now, there have been a series of unprecedented and frankly unfounded attacks on the Justice Department.
Wow. Okay. So Congress has never sent subpoenas before and no one's ever criticized the DOJ before. Do you remember what these lunatics were saying when Trump was running the DOJ?
This request, this effort to use contempt as a method of obtaining our sensitive law enforcement files is just the most recent. The effort to threaten to defund our investigations and the way in which there are contributions to an atmosphere that puts our agents and our prosecutors at risk, these are wrong.
What are you talking about? This is a presidential investigation. He's acting like this is going to be a major policy change for the DOJ. Well, if we have to comply on this investigation, do you know what that's going to do to all of our other criminal cases that we're working on right now? It's going to reveal our sources of what? How many other presidents are you investigating right now? As far as I know, it's just two. Or now you're done with one. Biden's done. You're like, oh, nope, nothing to see here. So he's done. You're still prosecuting Trump. So don't act like if you bend the rules on, like this is the president. This is a 2024 election. This is a national election. He got investigated by his own DOJ via a special counsel. Yes, we want the evidence. You don't get to turn around and say, if we give you that, it's going to wreck everything that we do at the DOJ. Are you doing any other cases like this at all? This is unique. So you don't get to hide behind the same excuses you normally do.
Look, the only thing I can do is continue to do the right thing.
Look.
I will protect this building and its people.
Gentlemen, why don't we respond?
You kind of answered this just now, but I was wondering, like, what this combined with the efforts to defund Jack Smith and the other attacks on Biden administration officials say about
attacks. Jack Smith is illegitimate. He should have been properly appointed, and he wouldn't be under this attack. It's a lawful legal defense. You see how this works? You defend yourself. You're attacking the institutions of American democracy. Maybe they should indict him for that.
Broader effort to...
Oh, how dare you file a motion to dismiss your case? You're working for Putin, aren't you?
Discredit you and to discredit the Justice Department, and also how do you manage that? How are you resisting that, and what can you do about that as Attorney General?
I say a haiku every
We have to
night.
go about our work following the federal principles of prosecution. As I said, we follow the facts and the law. We screen out
see
outside
that?
inappropriate influences. That's what we're doing here. We're protecting our ability to continue to do high-profile and sensitive investigations, and we will continue to do that.
So you can't release the audio from your special counsel? He was only a special counsel for one thing. That's why he's a special counsel. He's now done. So release it. He's got no other investigations ongoing. This is all just an excuse.
Mr. Perry, last question. It now seems the odds now seem vanishingly small that the
Spit
two
it out, reporter.
Jack Smith federal cases are going to begin trial, let alone finish
You hear the
trial
heartbreak.
this year. What does that say about the pace of the justice system and confidence in this Justice Department?
Look, the special counsel brought both cases last year. He appropriately requested speedy trials. The matter is now in the hands of the Judiciary, and I'm not going to be able to comment any further.
Thank you, everyone. We have to go to the FBI Memorial.
All right, so that's it. He takes a couple questions and they shoo him on out of there. He almost never talks to the media because he's so bad at it. But he also, of course, is dishonest, and he's having a difficult time explaining to everybody why one man who was also in the executive branch named Peter Navarro is sitting in prison right now. And why his own DOJ has submitted a new motion to send Steve Bannon there as well. Now he gets to decide unilaterally that a congressional subpoena is not valid. Isn't that interesting? Now, here are these maniacs in Congress who pretend like they have some intelligence in their brains, who clearly do not, are going at each other. This is just out of control. It's really hard to fathom what's going on here, but this is what's happening in Congress. So, all right, let's listen to this train wreck. Here it is.
Democrats on this committee are employing Judge Merchan's daughter.
Yeah, we know Judge Merchan's daughter, of course, who works for the Authentic campaign, the Authentic Inc. corporation that works for Democrat campaigns, was being paid by Dan Goldman, who's sitting right over next door to Marjorie Taylor Greene here. So she brings it up. There's a little bit of a personal insult back and forth, which I think is out of order for the rules, and it just goes off the rails.
Please tell me what that has to do with Merrick Garland.
Is she a porn star?
Oh, Goldman. That's right. He's advising. Okay.
He's advising who? What?
Let's boost some of this volume up. There's some nice whispers there in the background. And we want to make sure we can hear this genius.
Do you know what we're here for? You know we're here about AG.
I don't think you know what you're here for.
Well, you the one talking about.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing. Hold on. Listen.
Order, Mr. Chairman. That's beneath even order of your committee.
Order. I do have a point of order, and I would like to move to take down Ms. Greene's words. That is absolutely unacceptable. How dare you attack the physical appearance of another person?
Are your feelings hurt?
Her words down.
Aw.
Oh, girl, baby girl.
Oh, really?
Don't even play.
Baby girl? I don't think
we are going to
so.
move, and we're going to take your words down.
I
Thank you very
second
much.
that motion.
AOC.
So who will have to play?
Don't you even play,
Ms.
baby.
agrees
to strike her words.
I believe she
Chair
should
recognizes
apologize. No. She should
Perry,
apologize.
okay, hold on. Then after Mr. Perry's going to be recognized, then Ms. Green
I'm not
has 4 minutes and
apologizing.
21
Well,
seconds.
then you're not
reserve the right to
striking your
object.
words.
I am
You're
not
not
apologizing.
Now let's go. Come on, guys.
Why don't you debate me?
Mr. Chairman, the minority.
pretty self-evident.
Chair you're not.
Yeah, you're not.
out of order.
You don't have enough
You're out of order.
intelligence.
Chair recognizes Mr. Perry.
Okay, move to strike the.
I'd like to
I move to
strike
strike the
those
lady's
words. I
words.
would like- That's 2 requests to strike. That's 2 requests to strike.
Oh, they cannot take the
There's
words.
another motion to strike her words again.
All right,
Please get
okay,
your members under
here's
control.
the correct priority. Ms. Green, do you agree to unanimous consent to strike your words?
I repeat again for the second time. Yes, I'll
All
strike
right.
my words,
That-
but I'm not
all right.
apologizing.
Without objection.
Not apologizing.
Mr. Chair, point of order.
Okay, Jasmine, you're up.
Who's
Your turn.
Ms. Crockett.
Here she goes.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
What now?
Chairman, I make a motion to strike those words.
I don't think that's a
I'm trying to find clarification on what quality.
Chairman, motion to strike those
I had no idea
words.
what you just said.
No idea what you said.
We're not gonna do this. Look, you guys earlier literally just said
You just voted to do it.
Order. I'm trying to get clarification.
Look at calm down.
No, because this is what
like
y'all
to
do.
get to proceedings.
So I'm trying to get
Ms. Crockett,
clarification.
you're not recognized. Ms.
I can't hear
Crockett.
you with your
And
yelling.
You don't want
calm
me to
down.
Be,
Can
no,
you please calm down?
Don't tell me to calm down.
Calm down.
Because y'all
Please
talk
calm
noise,
down.
and then you
You're
can't
out of
take
control.
Because if I
Look, Chairman,
if I
can we
come
send
and talk
outside to
shit
take a
about
break
her,
for 5
y'all
minutes?
gonna have a problem.
Chairman, Mr.
Order.
Chairman.
Chair,
I don't know why
okay.
you're
Order.
acting
Chair
like
now
that.
recognizes.
Okay, did she just drop the S-bomb on there? You bleach blonde butch butt. Whoa. Okay, so we're all doomed. This is what it looks like over there. Honestly, it'd be better if they just went blows. You know, let's just go. Just go. All right, everybody back. Everybody back. You two, go. Just go. Settle it. Back up. Right? AOC, it's not your turn. You two, duke it out. Let's go. All right. And we could probably get a lot more done that way and have a lot less theater actresses scolding each other in Congress. All right. So that is what's happening there. Now let's go into what they actually wrote on paper. And here is the document. Okay. So now that that's out of the way and our brains have now digressed several decades, we have what they put together on paper. Probably not them, okay? These are other smart people who actually wrote this down, who know how to use computers. They wrote this: resolution recommending that Merrick Garland be held in contempt. And you can see this one. The Committee on Oversight, having considered this report, recommends the report be approved. And so let's go inside and see what is here. There is an executive summary. We'll hit the highlights. This is the problem. Now, in the weeks following the February 5th, 2024 release of Robert Hur's report, which we covered here, the three House committees, all conducting an impeachment inquiry, they needed to determine whether we're going to impeach Joe. So we reached out to the Department of Justice and we wanted documents and records related to Robert Hur's report. Hur sat down, interviewed with Joe. We got the transcripts eventually. Now, after the department declined to provide the committee with relevant documents and records, we and the Oversight Committee issued subpoenas, to Merrick Garland. We wanted the production of four things. One, audio and video recordings of Robert Hur's interviews with Biden and his ghostwriter. We also subpoenaed these materials for several reasons, including we want to know, should we impeach Joe? Now, to date, the department has refused to produce the audio recordings, despite not having invoked any privilege to justify its failure. And so during Robert Hur's investigation of Joe Biden, his team uncovered evidence that Biden, quote, willfully retained and disclosed the classified materials when he was a private citizen. He then said that Biden, as VP, had strong motivations to flout the rules for properly handling classified documents. They say, in particular, months before leaving office, Biden decided to write a book. He got $8 million for that. And the materials that were retained by Joe were used liberally. They were classified. He used those in writing his book. Now, Special Counsel Hur, in his report, which was so-called independent, he said that Biden reviewed and considered these documents as an irreplaceable contemporaneous record of the most important moments of his vice presidency. So they're very valuable to me. And they're here to me to defend my record and to buttress my legacy as a world leader. Now, despite all of that evidence that he intentionally took the documents, he held on to them, he referenced them, they were used in his interviews, knowing they were classified, talk about intent. Despite this evidence, guess what? No indictment, no criminal charges warranted. How come? Now, Biden has vehemently denied the findings in the report. They said that Robert Hur's report was gratuitous. Yet during the testimony before the committee, Special Counsel Hur said this. He said the evidence and the president himself put his memory squarely at issue. And that's in the hearing on the Hill. His memory, the evidence, and the president himself put his memory squarely in the issue. It's not some sort of Republican conspiracy. Joe Biden is not there. In his report, Special Counsel Hurd noted that during both his and Zwanitzer's interview with President Biden, the president's memory was, quote, significantly limited. He struggled to remember events, and he strained at times to read and relay his own notebook entries. Could hardly read. We know that because he can't speak when he reads from the teleprompter. Now, Special Counsel Hurd also observed that Biden, quote, did not remember when he was vice president. Forgetting on the first day of the interview when his vice presidential term ended, and did not remember even within several years when his son Beau died. Yeah, and that's just interesting. So a lot of big moments there that he's just having a difficult time remembering. Now, the DOJ continues to withhold key materials responsive to our requests. Specifically, we want the audio recordings of Hurd's interviews with Joe Biden and Zwanitzer, the author. The department has invoked no constitutional or legal privilege to support withholding this material, and its failure to comply with the committee's subpoena has hindered the House's ability to adequately conduct oversight over this process. Now, we have a bunch of power to investigate this stuff, and based on that power, on September 27th, pursuant to all of these, we released a memo talking about impeaching Joe. And we issued subpoenas to the department by Oversight and Judiciary. We explained below why we needed these materials. However, the impeachment inquiry is not our only basis for this. We've got Article 1 constitutional powers and the committee's constitutional, it's mandated, right? They say we are mandated to carry this stuff out. And so we need to consider all this for legislative reform, so give us the material. So here's the background now. According to the report of Robert Hur, Patrick Moore, one of Biden's personal attorneys, discovered 44 pages of classified materials. Moore notified Bob Bauer, White House counsel, notified Stuart Delaray. Same day, White House counsel's office passed the information to NARA, which retrieved the documents. And so they give us some background on this. But then after receiving notification in 2022, Garland assigned John Lausch from the Northern District of Illinois to lead an investigation. After further discoveries happened, Lausch determined, we need a special counsel. So Merrick appoints a lackey named John Lausch. He goes in, he's like, oh crap, there's documents everywhere, Merrick. He's like, all right, let's get a special counsel in here. So accordingly, then Garland appointed Robert Hur. He served as special counsel. During his investigation, he did 173 interviews, 147 witnesses, including Biden himself and Biden's ghostwriter. He collected over 7 million documents, including emails, texts, phone calls, videos, toll records, other materials. And then on February 8th of this year, Attorney General Garland released Hur's 375-page report. They said, although there's evidence that Biden willfully retained and disclosed classified materials when he was a private citizen, illegal, Trump's being prosecuted for that. Criminal charges were not warranted because he was an elderly man with a poor memory. Oh, no. Now, as part of our inquiry into impeachment, we need this info. Raises the prospect that he did this intentionally. We also have questions about whether he was the point man for Obama in his Ukraine efforts. By 2015, prosecutors had opened a, quote, unlawful enrichment investigation into Burisma. Oh, yeah, the same company that had Hunter Biden working for them. Now, special counsel's Hur report shows at least 2 documents identified in the report, A9 and A10, which were made available to the committees in camera, so behind closed doors, concern his interactions with the Ukrainian government. According to special counsel Hur, document A9, which we presumably have not seen, was a telephone call sheet setting forth the purpose of and the talking points with the Ukrainian prime minister at the time, Yatsenyuk. Document A10 was another document, was a format of a transcript documenting the substance of another phone call between Biden this time and Yatsenyuk. So given that Hunter Biden's business dealings in Ukraine were active when Joe Biden left the presidency, the vice presidency, Biden's retentions of these documents raises questions about whether he purposefully took them to benefit his family, right? He takes the Ukraine documents because Hunter's still working there. There's also the prospect that Biden willfully retained classified documents for his memoir. While working with Zwanitzker, the ghostwriter, he read from classified materials nearly verbatim, just reading it to him. This guy's going to literally publish it into a book. Joe Biden has classified materials, It's not in a box at Mar-a-Lago. It's going into the public because an author is going to write it into a book. Meeting notes summarizing the actions of everything. Notably, Robert Hur's report found that Biden received an advance of $8 million to produce that. To the extent that Biden willfully took this stuff to write a book, make a bunch of money, yeah, that's abuse of his office. I mean, Trump got charged. So on February 12th, approximately 4 days after the release of the report, they sent a letter to Garland requesting all these documents, 4 categories. 1, all documents, video recordings, which would be great, not just the audio, but the video. Can you imagine? We've seen Trump's depositions thrown all over the place, so why not an interview with Joe? All documents and communications, including audio, video recordings related to the counsel interview of the ghostwriter, all the documents as A9 and A10 about his weird interactions with Ukraine, all documents between the department and the special counsel's office about the report. So what was Joe Biden's White House saying to Robert Hur? So on February 16th, the department responded to the committee's letter. DOJ responds. They say, well, we're working to gather some of these responsive documents. We'll let you know how we're doing. The department offered no time frame. We'll get it to you in about 40 years. Accordingly, the Oversight Committee issued identical subpoenas. So we have Oversight and Judiciary, both committees in Congress. They said we want the following: audio, video. We want audio with a ghostwriter. We want those documents and so on. Now, the subpoenas sent a return date of March 7th. That has come and passed. On that date, the department produced an incomplete set of documents comprising only correspondence exchanged by Biden's legal counsel and other classified documents we could review in camera behind closed doors. Now, we notified them that this is inadequate. No, we asked for the audio and the video. You haven't provided that. In this letter, we noted that they failed to produce the audio and the video. And because Hur was scheduled to testify, we accepted a production of those materials until he testified, but we recognize that the department failed to comply with our revised deadline even after that. Next, a little more than 2 hours before Hur's scheduled testimony, the department produced 2 redacted transcripts of his interview with Biden. So I forgot about that. So they only dropped the transcripts right before he testified. Significantly, the department failed to produce the audio recordings of the interview. In its letter that came with the transcripts, which was sent to the committee at 7:45 before the interview with Hur started, the department represented to the committee that it had just completed a, quote, standard interagency review process, which is just, judicial babble, earlier that morning, thereby allowing the material to be released. We just finished it. Now, despite the department's representation, however, it was apparent that several news outlets reviewed the transcripts before they were produced to the committee. So the Times got it first, as usual. So the committees next wrote to Garland, and they said, listen, you have our material. You have the subpoena. You have the audio. Give it to us pursuant to the subpoena. The letter again reminded Garland about the legal obligations. You're a lawyer, so-called. And we relied, again, the department, again, refused to produce the material. They just declined to do it. Now, the department replied again on April 8th. So not that long ago, just over a month ago. Again, said, get the hell out of here, Congress. In the letter, the department explained why it decided to withhold the audio. What's their justification? Not because of any applicable legal privilege that might apply, but instead because of their accusations regarding our motives. And they said the audio recordings were cumulative. You already have the transcripts. You don't need to hear it. Rather than engaging with the committee, the department took it upon itself to dictate, you don't need the audio or the video. Get out of here. Now, the committees addressed the department's excuses. We responded in another letter. They said, hey, you're withholding. In his response to the subpoenas, the committees rejected the assertion that the audio recordings were cumulative. That's a stupid reason, Merrick. The audio recordings are materially different from the written transcripts. And courts and other people have said that we can have all the relevant evidence that we want. We're Congress. So the committees also told the DOJ that you haven't asserted any privileges. There's no constitutional or legal privileges that shield this from coming out. And we also rejected your speculation that we had bad motives for asking for this stuff. And so we offered the department, again, another chance until April 25th to comply. But guess what? They didn't. The department again refused to comply. And on April 25th, they responded. They said that you have not articulated a, quote, legitimate congressional need. Weird. I wonder if Steve Bannon or Peter Navarro ever thought about that. Golly. Amazing. Said it would harm law enforcement. How? Is there another president that is being investigated for classified documents right now? And that the even-handed administration of justice, which is just, again, made up judicial babble, it would compound the likelihood that future prosecutors would be unable to secure the level of cooperation that was important to the investigation. So if we don't protect Joe Biden's privacy, the next president who does this may not work with us when we're investigating him again. It's such a joke. So the attorney general, they're not going to give it up because they know how damning it is. The committees have articulated the impeachment and the purposes for this. And despite our attempts, there is no legal privilege or basis for withholding these materials. So we'll probably litigate this. The courts will settle it out. That's why we've got 3 branches. These 2 branches duke it out. Courts will hopefully come in and step in. Now, now whether the executive complies with the court order is another thing. In the 2 months since the committee's initial request to the department, and following the release of the report, they produced only 5 letters from the council, and we need a lot more. And the department's production of these letters does not relieve it of its obligation to give us the audio. During the dozens of hours of interviews, they said in the report that Biden literally read from notebook entries, read the material to publish it in a book. We found boxes discovered in his personal possession that included a bunch of stuff, all sorts of stuff. Ukraine, China, Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Egypt. Said they talked about all of these things openly with his ghostwriter. Now, the audio recordings are much better evidence than the transcripts. Verbal context is important. Tone, nonverbal context. Now, I know this probably sounds obvious to us, but they're making their record. So when they go to the courts, they say, look, we've tried everything. Pauses, pace of delivery. It's very important. That's why we have recorded interviews for criminals. For instance, when interviewed, a subject pauses or inflections can impact how we think a witness can recall. The verbal nuances in Biden's answers are also important. We need to know, did he abuse his office or no? They're not cumulative, okay? Audio is the best evidence. It's much better than a transcript. You know that. You're a prosecutor. It's like, do you think that a recorded confession is a little bit better than maybe a transcript for the jury to see it? Yeah, he said it specifically. Oh, yeah, that's him. He said it. He meant it. It's true. It's clearly believable. When he starts saying, no, I didn't, don't you want to have that recording to go back and reference? Such a divergence does occur and did occur. A video and audio recording reflects him reading a teleprompter on April 24th. He said, imagine what we could do next. 4 more years. Pause. Now, the transcript didn't have the word pause in there. So in this case, the video and the audio recording was the best evidence of the words that Biden actually spoke, okay? Because the transcript has the word pause in it, and what he said something that he wasn't supposed to say. So we need to know what he actually said, not what the transcripts say, because transcripts can be inaccurate, as evidence there. So while the department has claimed that the production of the audio recordings is not necessary, you already have what you need, we have a history of precedent on this. In fact, your own actions at the DOJ cut against your own argument. During Watergate, for example, back when Nixon was around, the department subpoenaed audio recordings of conversations between Nixon and his advisors. Now, although the president publicly released more than 1,200 pages of edited transcripts, the department maintained the subpoena for the audio. We need the audio, even though we have the transcripts. Now, the Supreme Court rejected Nixon's attempt to quash that subpoena. And his own actions demonstrate audio recordings are not cumulative. Now, the audio recordings would also inform the Oversight Committee as to the need for additional reforms at NARA. Robert Hur's interview had some interesting excerpts from it. They say, for example, the interview with Biden, Hur asked about materials found in Biden's garage. Here's how it went. Robert Hur says to Joe, but do you remember how these materials got into this box and then how that box got into the garage? Biden, no, I don't remember how a beat up box got in the garage. And do you remember how things like the Bo Iowa binder got into this spot? Somebody must have, packing this up, just picked all the stuff and put it in a box, because I didn't. Okay, do you have any idea where this material would have been before it got moved into the garage? Well, if it was 2013, when did I stop being vice president? Someone answers. 2017. Okay, so I was vice president. So it must have come from vice president stuff. That's all I can think of, says Joe Biden. So it does have some material in here that relates to your activities post vice presidency then, right? Like the Washington Speaker's Bureau material. And there's also material in there that relates to the book. It's called Promise Me, Dad, and with Mark Zwanitzer. And so there's some dates after President Biden jumps back in. See, that's what makes me think that just people gathered it up, whatever they found. And whenever the last thing was being moved, so the stuff moving out of the vice president's residence at the end of the day, whatever they found, they didn't separate it out, Speaker's Bureau and Pen or whatever the hell it is, or Bo. They just put it in a single box. That's the only thing I can think of. So they say, okay, yeah, that's okay. This colloquy is just one example of how this interview is relevant to whether legislative reforms are necessary here. We need to see the audio. Saying the Constitution does not permit the executive branch. Thanks. Throw around your constitutional cojones. Finally, we get a little bit of this. The Constitution does not permit the executive branch to dictate to Congress how to proceed with its oversight. Rather, our committees have discretion to do it. We've engaged in an inquiry. Now, we're under no obligation to rely exclusively on transcripts. We want the audio. And your refusal to produce the audio amounts to a demand that the committees trust the department. Like, we're going to trust your curated interview transcripts. No. Despite recent evidence of your manipulation of transcripts and only fixing the error after being caught, we don't believe you. And so Special Counsel Robert Hur's report makes clear, despite its conclusion that criminal charges are not warranted, that Biden willfully retained and unlawfully did the same while he was a private citizen. And so we issued a subpoena, and to date, despite numerous requests from this committee, we have gotten nothing, including a specific warning that failure to comply would result in contempt. And so we have now found that there is enough here to move this resolution forward. And of course, that's what Congress did. So the House Oversight Committee, as we saw, passed a resolution recommending that Garland be held in contempt, and we'll take it from there. Now, the White House is digging their heels in, man. They are not giving this thing up. Here is what Politico reports. They said, you are not getting the audio of the interview. Don't even think about it. The White House counsel's office notified House GOP investigators of the move hours before they made this vote. Rather than changing the plan, the GOP's plan, they asserted privilege, and now they're moving forward. So Hur's description of his interviews with Biden laid out why they want him, and while the transcript had been released, other things have not. So White House counsel said the absence of a legitimate need for audio recordings lays bare your likely goal. You're just going to take the audio, you're going to chop it up, you're going to distort it, and you're going to use it for your political purposes. So Garland asked Biden to block the release of the audio. He said less cooperation would be the result. Karine also has some things to say about it, and so let's see what she says. They know how bad this is. They are not going to release it if they can help it. Here is Karine responding to questions about this. What is going to happen? Are we going to get this audio?
President Biden decided to block the release of the audio of his interview with the special counsel. And obviously the letter from the White House counsel laid out the reasons about the concerns of being used for political purposes. But that seems to imply that the White House is concerned that these could be politically damaging. So why not just release them, especially with this White House's commitment to transparency?
Well, for one, the transcripts, as you all know, is already out there. I think the second piece of this, too, to note is that the Attorney General made it clear that law enforcement files like these need to be protected. And so the president made his determination at the request of the Attorney General. So I just want to make that second point that I made.
Oh, Biden didn't want to seal these things. Merrick Garland requested it, and so Joe Biden was honoring his request. You're like, come on. Who's wagging who
Very
here?
clear. The Department of Justice and the White House counsel's office have provided extensive written letters, as you all know. I'm sure some of you have read this on this issue. And like I said, that you have seen. And so when it comes to anything further or any specifics, obviously I would refer you to my colleagues at the White House counsel's office. But those are just to make that second point again very clear. This was taken by determination. The President took the determination at the request of the Attorney General, and the Attorney General wanted to make sure that that law enforcement files like these must be protected.
Yeah, so Merrick Garland walks into Joe's office and he's like, hey, Joe, I have a very important thing I need to tell you. We need to avoid this audio coming out to prevent you from being found and discovered to be a dementia patient. And he says, well, I guess if you need to protect your sources and methods, because I do, I definitely need to. And then Karine comes out and says that's like above the board behavior. Biden's doing it to protect himself, but only at the request of the AG. And we're supposed to buy that? I can't believe she came out and said that. All right. So that's their leadership over there. So yeah, we're going to continue to cover this one like we're covering everything else, my friends. Garland's getting nervous, and we'll find out more about what happens next, because Congress is not going to be happy with this response, of course. We'll see if the courts get involved and how this litigation unfolds, because it is exposing the double standard. I think any which way we can crack the facade of the idea that the DOJ is legitimate, that they have no bias, that this is something that's being done impartially, it's going to, once a little chip in the armor comes off, once a little part of the facade starts to crumble, the rest will crumble. And this cover up with Joe Biden is clear indication of the double standard between what's happening with Trump and Joe. And so we'll be here to continue to cover it, my friends. Thank you for subscribing. As we do, would love it if you did subscribe wherever you're watching this. Would love it if you shared this channel with a friend or family member. Invite them to come over here and join us so they can see what's happening in these trials. We got a great members only community as well. Some great links down in the description below. We'd love to have you become a member on Locals or on YouTube. That way you can join us for our members only morning streams, including on Saturdays. And we'll see you over there and back here on the next one. All right, my friends. Well, that's our first segment in the can. And I just noticed that, as per usual, right on time, we have Google logging me out of all the things, because they do that right when you're in the middle of your live stream, for whatever reason that is. So we lose some functionality, but we're back. All right, we're back in. We can see our YouTube friends now. Okay, good. We're back in business. All right. Now, let's carry on, because we're going over to Fani land, and we're going to see what's happening here. Fani Willis, very unhappy with the Senate, raging at the investigators, saying that if they're upset with her, well, that's just their own prerogative. And she uses a little bit of a potty mouth here, something that I know my mother would be unhappy with if she heard me saying the P word. She says, that's not good language, Rob. You're going to have to clean your mouth out with soap if you keep saying that. So I was always kind of instructed as a young boy to keep that word away. But Fani apparently didn't get the memo. She's getting hit with all sorts of inquiries from local Georgia Senate and now from the United States Senate. She's already told Jim Jordan to pound sand, get out of here. She doesn't want to be bothered. She's too busy drinking her Grey Goose. But now Fani is saying she doesn't care about these inquiries. I don't care if they're all peed off. That's their own problem. They're not my daddy.
Isn't it interesting when we got a bunch of African-American DAs, now we need daddy to tell us what to do? They can keep looking. I'm not interested in...
Didn't your daddy tell you what to do? It depends which daddy you're talking about, but your first daddy told you to put a bunch of cash under your mattress, apparently. And then your other daddy, Nathan, well, I don't know what he told you to do, but apparently a lot.
And them looking, they can look. I'm sorry they pissed off.
Whoa!
Justice is now actually blind. Lady Justice is blind. Everybody can get it. Isn't it?
What did she just say? Okay, one more time.
Interesting when we got a bunch of African-American DAs, now we need daddy to tell us what to do. They can keep looking. I'm not interested in them looking.
Man,
they can
Fulton
look. I'm
County
sorry
is
they
wild,
pissed off.
huh?
Justice is now actually blind. Lady Justice is blind. Everybody can get it.
Yeah, maybe Nathan told her to go make her a sandwich or something, remember? Because she was very unhappy with that language And Nathan Wade says that he respects women or whatever that story was. So, all right, that's Fani. Sorry they're peed off at me. I don't care. We're black women prosecutors. We don't need daddies or whatever she was saying. Who knows? But this is what the Senate has sent her way. And of course, they do sound a little bit peed off. Here is what the Senate sent over to Big Fani Willis, the biggest Fani in all of Georgia, who has gray goose coming out of her eyeballs. We got the Senate sending this one to her office there in the Fulton County in Georgia. Says, all right, Miss Willis, check this one out. Says, Justice Department of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, we award grants to various local DAs like yourself. In fact, you guys got millions of dollars for law enforcement related projects. Now, according to recent reports, Fani, you may have misused funds from these grants to fund unrelated travel or the purchase of computers and swag, grifting off federal funds in addition to the Fulton County taxpayers. So the Senate says, well, we write to today to request information connected to this grant and other federal grants that you got from us. In fact, in 2020, the government program awarded you guys $500,000. Man, that's a lot of gray goose. To establish the Fulton County Center of Gang Prevention. I'm sure it went to a great cause. Now, the stated purpose of the center was to provide professional development, academic mentorship, and a community network for youth at risk of becoming involved or continuing in gang activity. What a stupid... I mean, look, first of all, that all sounds great. Like, I'm all in favor of professional development. Love academic mentorships. Great. Don't like gang activity. Don't want our youth to be at risk. You know, all those things are great. But do we believe that some stupid government program dumping $500,000 into it is going to solve that problem at all? Or maybe it's a little bit deeper. It's like a societal problem that requires like culture and family and social order, you know, those things. But no, it's a $500,000 grift. Someone's going to rip it off. Let's watch. According to the reports, the center has yet to open, and the building meant to house it is closed to the public. Its gates have been padlocked. Yeah, so much for the youth over there. Good luck. Hit the streets, punks. Reports have raised allegations that portions of this and other federal grants funded by taxpayer dollars provided to your Fani office were subject to misuse. Oh no, you're kidding. Most recently, the Department of Justice reportedly stated that it found, quote, inconsistencies in what Fulton County has reported to the Federal Subaward Reporting Program. And we are working with them to update their reporting accordingly. Like, it's a little bit inconsistent. Like, this was supposed to go to the at-risk youth, and now we just have cruise tickets. It's a little inconsistent. We can rectify that. Specifically, the inconsistencies relate to $88,900 from your office to the Offender Alumni Association, okay? So the At-Risk Youth of America, now it's going to an Offender Alumni Association, whatever that means. So Fulton County records show that the money was transferred, but the Justice Department records reportedly do not. So you moved the money, but you didn't tell us. And the reported administrative director of the Offender Alumni Association, so they moved money over, says, I have no idea where that information is coming from. So they contacted them. Hey, where'd that money come from? Did you provide any notice to the federal government that gave that to you? No, the director. I have no idea where that information is coming from. I don't know where I got it. Who cares? It came from Fani. So Amanda Timpson, the former director of the Gang Prevention and the Intervention Center for the DA's office, reportedly notified you, Fani, that an official in your office planned to use the gang prevention funding. And so this is the whistleblower now. So her name is here. Amanda T. says that your office planned to use the gang prevention funding on, quote, on computers and other ineligible expenses. She made the report, fired, such as MacBooks. You're going to go get some new MacBooks, man. They're cool. Swag and travel instead of helping at-risk youth in the community. Yeah, she's going to go to Belize again. Ms. Timpson brought these concerns to your attention, says you can't use your $500,000 from the feds for whatever you want, Fani. Who do you think you are? 2 months later, Fani, you terminated her employment. Get out of here. Do you want a MacBook, yes or no? Everyone else is like grabbing MacBooks, like they're running out of an Apple store. In fiscal year 2020, the senators are writing to Fani. They say your office got $2 million in federal funding, which is, again, for the Sexual Assault Kit Initiative. Let's see what this goes to. According to the Bureau of Justice Assistance, it's like, how about we just don't pay the federal government all this money and then they don't have to give it back to us for their useless grifts? How about that? According to the OJP's Bureau of Judicial Assistance, Justice Assistance, the office that administers these funds were authorized to address the issues that underline the problem of unsubmitted sex assault kits and to help law enforcement and prosecutors solve more of these heinous crimes. It always sounds great. Here's more money to solve more crimes. Oh, we couldn't solve those crimes yet. What do? I don't know. Let's get some more money. Never-ending solution. We just need more money. If we get more money, our kids will be smarter. Okay. If we get more money, we'll beat Russia. You know, we can secure a border if we have more money, more border patrol agents, more all the time. However, data published by Fulton County from 2020 to 2023 that show that Fulton County actually spent 49% of its funding, so not identifying people who have been the victims of a sexual assault who should have justice, but instead spent that on travel and conference expenses. Travel and conference expenses. Yeah. Hotel, airfare, rental cars. 28% of that $2 million was actually spent on professional services. Only 28%, less than 1/3, went to forensic and DNA testing. No, none of it. Nothing. 28%. Almost 3/4 of it goes to Fani's Big Fani. Moreover, in 2023, the Fulton County DA's office spent approximately 98% of its SACI funding on travel and conferences. These people are sick. So they're like, they go around and they say that they're helping to fight sexual abuse. Fani will run her Fani mouth and say this all the time. We're prosecutors fighting for women. We stand up for women. In fact, we're working on the OJP Sexual Assault Kit Initiative. And that's why I'm here speaking to you today from my penthouse. The apparent and the significant discrepancy between 98%, it's theft. The apparent and significant discrepancy, it's called theft, that's a crime, between the purpose and the federal award of taxpayer money and the actual use of that money raises alarms that it hasn't been used as Congress intended. So the waste or misuse of taxpayer funds is unacceptable. Yeah, right. Yeah, it's true. It is unacceptable, but they all do it. Therefore, given these recent reports, here's what we want from you, Big Fani. We want a list of all the federal grants received by Fulton County DA. We want a complete accounting of all your expenditures from every federal grant. They don't even have this stuff. They are so disorganized over there. They have nothing, none of this. And they want all records related to the Fulton County DA's planned expenditures for all of the additional federal money that you just keep stealing from everybody. Please respond to this letter no later than May 29th of this year. Thank you for your cooperation. Sincerely, your friends, Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson. So it is just corruption about as deep as it goes. And you can see this is what these people do. So she's going to take that money. She's going to misappropriate it for her trips and her, her friends. Well, to kind of just everybody who's just running around pretending like they're serving their constituency. Here's Fani crying. When she was in Belize, she needed somebody to take her trash cans back and forth to the curb. And so the police there helped her out.
An event last night where the men and women of the City of South Fulton Police Department were honored. She's lived in that community for 18 years, long before it was incorporated as a city. She says police have answered the call on countless threats at her home. Willis said the most recent was in December. Someone pulled a hoax while she was away, which led her to panic, thinking that her 26-year-old daughter might be dead inside the home. Of course, that wasn't. It
was a hoax while she was away.
Case, and she thanked the officers for always looking out for her.
Okay, get your
The last
tissues.
couple of years have been really hard for me, but what has kept me safe?
Yeah, because you've been trying to hide your conflicted, illegal, unethical affair with your lover, who you were hiring so that you could embezzle $700,000 and go on multiple cruises and vacations and drink your Grey Goose. It was hard for you. You were on like 6 cruises or 5 cruises in like 6 months, or vacations. You were going all over the place, and you lied to the court about it. So yeah, hard times.
Safe as this police department. And so that's why it's an honor to stand among my heroes. This police department will keep me safe.
Yeah.
And so many of
From
y'all
what?
did. So many of y'all walked around my house.
Yeah.
So many of y'all
Took my
showed
trash
up.
cans out.
That dog showed up daily to just make sure that me and my family were okay. And I can be Madam DA, but at the end of the day, I'm just a single mom trying to raise my children. And it's because of you I'm safe.
Get out of here. All right, she's a home wrecker. She wrecked the Jocelyn Wade household. How about Jocelyn Wade? Now she's a single mom who's having to raise her 2 kids, and you threatened to put her in jail for that. Remember that? You said, how dare she interfere with our investigation? So this is a maniac person who is going to, revert back to her single mom victimhood status that she's creating for herself. Anyways, it's just disgusting that she abuses her power. She steals money. She is an unethical, home-wrecking person, and then thanks the police for, I guess, taking her trash can out. One of the most reprehensible people in America at the moment. But that's Fani Willis. Apparently Fulton County loves her. So we'll see what Georgia does with her. The notice of appeals have also been filed. Almost forgot those. But this is what is now happening here. So while Fani is crying her eyes out, thanking the police, the Georgia Court of Appeals has accepted the appeal process. So the way this works, very complicated there in Georgia. You got to get permission from the lower level court. Judge McAfee, they got it. Then they'd say, we got permission from McAfee. Hey, Court of Appeals, can we come knock on your door? They say, yeah, you can knock on the door. Why don't you come on in? Once you're in, then you got to file your notice of appeal. And then from there, you file your actual appellate memorandum, which is the actual appeal. It's the big document that we all analyze and review. So this is what the Court of Appeals has said. You can see it's from the Court of Appeals, State of Georgia. Clerk's office says, all right, well, upon consideration of the application for the interlocutory appeal, and the interlocutory is we're kind of in the middle of everything right now. Normally, criminal cases, you appeal at the conclusion of the case, you appeal the conviction, but we're asking for a pause because we've got an issue with Fani. If Fani is disqualified, there's a good argument the whole case is done because her conflict emerged from the source, from the very beginning of the case, because they were in a relationship before the indictment came. It is ordered that it is hereby granted. So the Court of Appeals will be hearing it. Says the appellants, so the people who are doing the appeal, may file a notice of an appeal, not the appeal, but just a notice within 10 days. And of course, they have. So we've got several of those coming in, including Michael Roman's. These are all very simple, 1 page, 1.5 page. We know who she is. Ashley Merchant gets hers in, submitted, saying that we are timely providing notice that we're appealing McAfee's terrible and awful decision. The Georgia Court of Appeals has jurisdiction because it's not one reserved for the exclusive jurisdiction of the Supreme Court, and we designate the entire record on this issue be transmitted. Boom, Ashley Merchant drops hers. David Schaefer gave us a screenshot of his. Very simple page here. Notice is given. We're also filing our appeal. So there'll be a new date, and then we'll get the appellate memos. Trump's is a little bit longer. You can see here they wrote from Steve Sadow, e-filed in the Georgia court. Steve Sadow for Trump wrote this one, says, all right, notice is given here that Trump is also appealing this. The trial court granted a certificate of review, that's McAfee, and the Georgia Court of Appeals gave us permission here. And so the defendant designates the entire record for transmission. Of the Fulton County Superior Court, the clerk is directed to omit nothing from any of this. Further, the clerk is directed to specifically include the pretrial hearing transcripts and exhibits admitted or made part on these dates. And further, the clerk is directed to include all sealed court proceedings, transcripts, and documents under the same case number. Court of Appeals has jurisdiction over this matter pursuant to the Constitution of Georgia, not subject to the Supreme Court exclusively, and the Court of Appeals also has jurisdiction, and so please accept our filings. Signed by Steve Sadow. So all the documents are hit. Fani's got to be a little bit nervous out there. Georgia Republican Party is very happy about this, says the Georgia Court of Appeals, Chairman of the GOP, Josh McKinnon, says they made the right decision. this morning to take up the appeal. The damage done by Fani to the innocent defendants in this ridiculous case and to the wife and family of Nathan Wade, threatening them, will take years to repair, if ever. But this is the first step in cleaning the stench of mendacity, the stinky Fani that has infested the entire courthouse. This simply would not have happened without the unanimous decision to indemnify our presidential electors. We're committed to fighting Fani all the way to put an end to her evil weaponization of our criminal justice system. Signed by Josh McCoon, who's over in Georgia. So that's Fani. She's getting appealed all over the place. I think this is a pretty big deal. The fact that they're accepting this is saying, uh-oh, maybe something needs to go the other way. And McAfee found that Fani needs to go. Are they going to revert, or that one of them needed to go? Nathan Wade left. So what are they going to say? No, Nathan Wade can come back now? Or is it more likely that they're going to say, no, you should have gone even further, McAfee. You blew it. You should have disqualified Fani. So we'll be here and continue to cover this. We're very excited for when those appellate memos drop. And so hopefully you're subscribed, because we'll be covering those when they do. Thank you for also liking this video. Wherever it is you're watching this, we've got some great links down in our description below, including our members-only community. We have it on Locals and on YouTube. We're live 6 days a week, when we can do it 6 days a week, for our members. We'd love to have you become a member and join us at watchingthewatchers.locals.com or on YouTube. We'll see you there and back here on the next one. All right, my friends. Well, we got one segment left on the day, and then we are going to hear from you and see what you have to say. But this one takes us back to New York with Big Tish. Letitia James, under fire, gets another inquiry, this time from Congress, and they're asking her about this guy. You know his name, Matthew Colangelo, former Obama prosecutor, former Biden prosecutor, former Letitia prosecutor, now is working for Alvin Bragg. This guy's been bouncing around, prosecuting Trump everywhere he goes for everybody he works for. And so now there's a question about his role in all of this. And Tish James, who took her shoes off in the courtroom, stinking up the entire building, is the subject of this letter. Comes from Jim Jordan. We'll see what he says about this in the aftermath. But here is what the letter went over to Tish looked like. It came out from the Committee on the Judiciary, House of Representatives, Congress of these United States, to the Honorable Letitia James. Dear Attorney James, Big Tish, Stinky Feet Tish, says the Committee on the Judiciary is conducting oversight of people like you, who we think are politically motivated prosecutors. And since last year, we've had a number of situations where popularly elected prosecutors who campaigned for office, like you did, on the back of prosecuting Trump, you engage in an unprecedented abuse of prosecutorial authority. They say the indictment of a former president and the current leading candidate for that office has happened under your watch. New York County DA's office, Alvin Bragg, is engaged in one of these prosecutions right now that happens to be politicized. And that is led in part by this guy. Remember him? Matthew Colangelo, who used to work for you, Tish, former prosecutor in your office and a subsequent senior DOJ official who worked for Biden before he went back over to work for Bragg. Now, given the perception that the DOJ is assisting Bragg's politicized prosecution, we write to request information related to what your office knows about Colangelo's employment with the New York AG's office. Here's more. Mr. Colangelo and his recent employment history demonstrates his obsession with a particular person rather than prosecuting a crime. Who could that be? At the New York Attorney General's office, Mr. Colangelo, who for some time held the title of Chief Counsel for Federal Initiatives, he ran investigations into Trump. He led the wave of state litigation against Trump administration policies. On January 20th, the first day of Biden's administration, he became the acting associate AG, the number 3 over there at the DOJ. Upon confirmation of Attorney General Vanita Gupta, Colangelo then went to be the principal deputy associate AG. Then in December, Alvin Bragg brought him on, beefed up his office by hiring Mr. Colangelo to fill the void left after Pomerantz and Kerry Dunn left. Bragg hired Colangelo to, quote, jumpstart the investigation of Trump. Why? Because he's taken on Trump multiple times. Mr. Colangelo is now the lead prosecutor in Trump's trial. He leapfrogged back to the front of the pack. And there's a good argument that this case was dead without him. Okay, Pomerantz and Kerry Dunn, they resigned because Bragg said no. So they left. All of their, maybe they're just terrible prosecutors or idiots or something, but they left. He did not get the cattle prod. A Biden prosecutor comes down from the DOJ. Suddenly the case comes back. DA Bragg's prosecution concerns federal subject matter that is identical to the same thing the DOJ closed in 2018, raising concerns that some state prosecutor is trying to relitigate something that the feds already declined. Now, Bragg's prosecution relies heavily on Michael Cohen, his so-called star witness, a convicted felon and someone with demonstrable bias against Trump. Cohen pleaded guilty to lying to Congress in 2018. In 2019, when he testified before the Democrats in the House, he was, again, lying 6 times to the Democrats. In the years since, Cohen has been vocal about his deeply personal animus against Trump. And so, Bragg's prosecution of Trump has serious consequences. The fact that a former Biden official whose previous employment led a wave of litigation against Trump, the fact that he's the leading prosecutor, only adds to the perception that Biden sent him to your office and that this is politicized and weaponized by Joe. And so accordingly, we need the following from you. We want all documents and communications from the period of January 1, 2017 to 2021, anything from Colangelo to any employees. We want to know what they talked about as it related to Trump, the Trump organization, any other entities owned by Trump. We want to know what Colangelo said to the AG's office from this time frame about the same. We want to know about documents from the DNC or Joe Biden to Colangelo. And we want all the personnel files that are related to Colangelo's hiring from your office, Stinky Foot Tish. Please provide the information requested as soon as possible, but no later than May 29th. SCOTUS has recognized we're very powerful, we're Congress. And they don't exercise it. And so pursuant to our powers, we are investigating you, Tish. If you have any questions, give us a call. Sincerely, your friend, Jim Jordan, chairman of the Judiciary Committee. So they're inquiring into Colangelo. I don't know that's going to go anywhere. I mean, honestly, the trial is going to be over probably on Tuesday. We'll get a verdict maybe next week. So that is the letter that went over to her office. Now, I think it is very important to get to the bottom of it. He is the thread that connects all the cases, and he seems like a prime operator there. So Jim Jordan was out talking about some of this. He got asked about what his position is with Colangelo in this investigation, and he is explaining here.
No, it sure would, and that's what Mr. Colangelo had before he went up to work for Alvin Bragg. But Sean, it's even worse, because he started with Letitia James. So he went after President Trump with the state attorney general. Then he comes and works the number 3 position in the Justice Department, in the Biden Justice Department. And then he goes back up to New York to work for Alvin Bragg and be the chief prosecutor against President Trump in this ridiculous trial where Michael Cohen, the convicted perjurer, the guy who's lied multiple times to everybody, is the star witness.
Now, didn't the issue of, for example, you're the chairman of a committee. We have, last time I checked, we have 3 co-equal branches of government, and that your branch of government, you're a member of Congress, the legislative branch, that you would have oversight over the executive branch, and that would be part of Congress's role, correct?
Sure is. One of our constitutional duties is to do oversight of the executive branch and the agencies that fall under our jurisdiction, Homeland Security, and of course the Department of Justice.
Hopefully they do it. That's the thing.
Jim Jordan mentioned on the
Attorney General said they want to be independent and impartial. Okay, that's what we're supposed to evaluate. That's part of our oversight. What we do know is you've charged President Trump with a crime on the classified documents issue, and you didn't charge Joe Biden. Are you really being impartial? Particularly when on page 1 of Robert Hur, the special counsel's report, he says Joe Biden knowingly kept and Joe Biden knowingly disclosed classified information. On page 231 of his report, he said Joe Biden had strong motivations for ignoring classified procedures. He knew he was writing a book for which he got paid an $8 million advance. So we have motive, an $8 million motive. We have the elements of the crime met. but Robert Hur says we're not going to bring a charge. We're not going to recommend charges because he's a forgetful, elderly gentleman. Okay, so give us all the evidence. And by the way, Joe Biden's already waived executive privilege when he released everything, including the transcript. We just want the best evidence so we can evaluate if, in fact, the Department of Justice is truly being independent and impartial, which is our job under the Constitution. That's why we held him in contempt, and it passed out of committee earlier today.
Yeah, and they, I think, are being useful. I know we all get tired, myself included, believe me, of all the letters from Congress. Letter after letter after letter. It's like, all right, already, do something about it. You have the power of the purse, defund them, do something. But we're getting closer day by day. I think that this is politically useful, even if they don't get the audio. It shows that they don't want you to hear it. It shows that there is something very bad in that audio recording that they would rather Americans never hear. And so the Republicans will be able to use that. Hopefully Trump gets that, out. He'll say, my depositions are all over the place. They played my depositions in trial. E. Jean Carroll deposed me. So just release Joe's audio too. Hopefully they continue to hit that. And it's going to, I think, make the Biden camp look a little bit weak if they don't release the audio, because they'll just say, well, why are you covering it up? Now, in this case, there's a universal thread that connects all of these lawfare political prosecutions, and it seems to be the Democrats, right? It's people like Matthew Colangelo who are at the center of this, orchestrating and tipping the scale on every one of these investigations, going around state to state, setting up like little franchises as he just prosecutes Trump. The one-man prosecution orchestrated by the Democrats, birthed out of Obama. We're going to be here continuing to cover this. So we'll see what Tish says. Maybe she'll take her shoes off again and go hang out with Areola Angeron, the Aurora Areola Borealis there in New York, as she turns into Godzilla and then eats Trump Tower, ramaging around, eating the buildings in New York. We'll see. We're going to be here continuing to cover it, my friends. Thank you for subscribing as we do. Thank you for also checking out some of our awesome links in the description below. We'd love to see you become a member. We do extra members-only streams, and we stream on Saturday. So come on over and join us. It'd be great to have you there. We will be back here as well on the next one. All right, my friends. So let's see what you have to say about all this, man. We had some good segments today. A lot of activity from Congress. Tish James under fire. Fani's raging about her daddy. And Garland getting pretty nervous about this contempt stuff that's happening in Congress. But now, my friends, it's time to hear from you and to see what you have to say about this. It's a beautiful Friday, and I hope your week was incredible. Hopefully, you've got some amazing weekend plans. Hey, for membos, we're going to be live earlier tomorrow on our member stream. It's going to be early live, so 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern time, extra early tomorrow, because we've got an event. So if you're joining us, that's a little bit of a PSA. But, my friends, amazing donos, thank you so much for supporting our work with your contributions. Very nice to have you. We've got this one from 66 Anton. Says, because I love you, Rob, heterosexually, of course. Well, I love you back, 66 Anton, heterosexually, of course. And I think that's a brotherly love, man. Brotherly love is a very powerful thing. I think that they try to take that away from dudes, but you can have some brotherly love. It's how you look out for each other. It's like, make sure your other bro doesn't die, All right, good to see you. Love you back. What's up? Hey, Ike's girl says, don't mind me. Says, please tell Robert there's a new filing in the Wade versus Wade case. Yesterday it came out, deadbeat dad stuff. I saw Phil Holloway had a good video on that one. And I guess Nathan Wade is trying to get out of his support for his kids. What a surprise. Good to see you, Ike's girl. Thanks for the heads up. Sheila P. bringing in new membos. What's up, Sheila P? Thanks for bringing in Jackie G. The long and short of it's here. John O. Freed is here. Blocks. James B. We got Rusty B. Safon's here. Nicole Bama Princess. What's up? Damon W. Terry B. And Old Drill Sergeant. Everyone's shouting out our friend Sheila P. for bringing in 10 new membos. Hey, what's going on? Voice of the People says, I'll be streaming this whole disgraceful committee hearing on Rumble after this show's over. It was an embarrassment for this country. So people are coming over there. What's up, Voice? Yeah, go over to Voice of the People. He's going to be on Rumble. And he's, I guess, like, you're going to, man, you got some good stamina over there to handle Jasmine Crockett for the whole stream. Oh my gosh. Voice of the People. Go check it out, my friends. This one is the link. Oh, here, this one is the link. He says, this needs to stop. This is your tax dollars at work. Are you happy with this? Voice of the people on a Rumble. What's up, voice? Have a great stream, my man. What's up, Granny Joe? What's up, Granny Joe? We got all you do is greatly appreciated. Thank you. Hey, thank you, Granny Joe. What a nice comment. We got 3 months as a membo, and that's great. First month's the hardest, and we're 1/3 of the way to a baby. Thank you, Granny Joe, for being here. Great comment. We got Patrick says, he better watch out. Trump can prosecute him for contempt of Congress when he takes over. Exactly. Yeah, I think you're exactly right about that. You better be careful there, because when the new guy comes in, say, well, there was a crime committed, you had a subpoena, you ignored it, and they're hopefully holding him in contempt. That would be very nice to see. And maybe he'll get arrested. We'll see. Sheila P, what's up, says Garland legit doesn't get to decide when a subpoena is legit. I guess, according to him, he does. He just decided that. It's legitimate now. It's not legitimate, so I refuse to comply. Wild times, as he's simultaneously prosecuting other executive branch officials for doing the same thing. Wild. What's up, Glocky says, Garland and the rest of the fascists in D.C. are giving Himmler and his crew a run for their money. Okay, this is like one of those magic photos that you used to read at the doctor's office when you were there as a kid. Like, find which things are different. Okay, here, see if you can find the difference between these two pictures up here. Can you hear, countdown. What are the difference? Trick question. Same picture, but all right, we got this one from Object Class Keeter. Trump's AG should quote Garland or the Democratic House in 25. You mean when they all get indicted? We should have our own little committee again. Liz Cheney, opposite. What's up, Glocky says, did you know Democrat AGs have a long history of war crimes and atrocities like Ruby Ridge, Waco, all under a Democrat AG. And who can forget this guy? Yeah, Eric Holder, who helped to arm ISIS, facilitate drug cartels, arm ISIS, and yeah, with and then Obama made it all executive privilege. No FBI raid at all. Yeah, Glocky's here, has a comment about what Congress looks like. It was rough there today. Genius by birth says, I'm not against an octagon being installed on the Congress floor. I would probably run for Congress. I'm not a fighter by trade. I mean, I have a little bit mixed martial arts and wrestling experience, but I would be a lot more interested in Congress. I might even train. I would have had a whole maybe different career path. If you were like, Rob, you can be a wrestler and then go into Congress and challenge people to a duel on the octagon, I'd probably be right there. No doubt. No doubt. Why wouldn't you? It'd be great. We'd have a bunch first of all, it would be like when the UFC started. You have a bunch of people who come in who are not really great fighters, but then by the 10th Congress after this rule change, we'd have a bunch of MMA bros in there. It'd be great. It's what's happening now. At least we'll have some, some entertainment. What's up? Travel agent Amy says, I didn't hear AOC ask Marjorie Taylor Greene for her pronouns before she called her a baby girl. How unleft of her. That's right. Didn't even ask what she thought, what she wanted to be identified with. Baby girl is a very misogynistic term, isn't it? Why was AOC saying that? That's something that Nathan Wade would say to Fani. He's like, baby girl, calm down. Go get me a Grey Goose and make me a sandwich, baby girl. Relax, baby girl, relax. Yeah, I'll call you later, baby. Relax. It's very misogynistic. And AOC, I guess, is just a bigot and part of the patriarchy now. Glocky says, to be fair, I watched debates in the House of Commons in England, and they are pretty lit. I saw the one in Taiwan today. That dude in Taiwan was awesome. Not to mention in places like Taiwan, they will actually use kung fu in parliament and beat the crap out of each other like full-scale brawls. It's pretty nifty. Well, look, we had canings in Congress. We had canings back in our, beat that dude with a cane. What did you say about my honor? All right, that's it. So, yeah, let's get to it. Let's let these bros just duke it out. So it's pretty nifty. I saw the clip of the Taiwan guy today. I think he was stealing, I think, a bill and running out like it was a podium or something. Just outstanding. What's going on? Glocky's here. Projected winner of the Georgia House, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Good to see you. What's up, Nick B? Nick B's in the house, joining us as a new supporter. Welcome aboard, Nick. Thanks for joining up. We'll see you in the morning. Glocky says, On Local says, okay, so just a horrible thought. The fact that Garland even thinks the DOJ is on par with the legislative branch should sound alarm bells in every American in this republic to prove you how out of control and illegally they can act with no oversight or accountability or punishment. They are literally the Democrats' Gestapo, with the FBI literally being the Democrats' SS. You people better think long and hard about what you've done in 1938 Germany, because you're there. We're in a precarious position, that's for sure, Glocky. And I think you're right. It's just a big criminal operation under the guise of democracy. And if you challenge their institutions of power, they'll use their muscle to take you out. They're doing it right now. Hey, Tree Climber brought in a new membo. Ryan H is coming in. Thank you, Tree Climber, for being a membo and bringing in the newest of membos. Glocky's got that one. We'll skip that one, but it says 2 of these kids are bad. One of them is good. It's a picture of Barron, who looks good. And then the other picture of Hunter is of Hunter, who's in his underwear, which will spare all of our eyeballs that one. Glocky also shared this one. AOC, did you guys see what was on? AOC was on Jeopardy the other night. Did you see this exchange? Question. This act represents a law that involves racketeering. AOC comes out. What is tennis? Daily Devil. Okay. What's up? This old guy says, given the DOJ's weaponization of the fact that the White House has a history of manipulating information released to the public, I have no belief that the transcript is accurate at all. Right. And I think that was Congress's point. We want to see, we saw some in the transcript, like dash, Biden says something, dash. Okay. How much time elapsed right there? Was that like a 2-second dash, or was that like a 2-minute dash? We need the audio to see the timing. What's up? Lucy the dog is here. Says, thanks, Rob, for going through all this. Do you think Garland is being pressured by the deep state, Biden admin, etc.? Yeah, honestly, I think Garland's I think he's a player. I think he believes in this stuff. He's a team player. He's a Justice Department institutionalist. He wanted to be on the Supreme Court. But I think he's kind of meek and I think he probably is a bit more of an old justice guy who is being dragged along as the senior fellow with the gray hair who is going to be the fictional avatar for justice. But the communist lunatics are ultimately in charge. Yeah, so I think that's right. Glocky's here sharing this one. Glocky says, having intelligence information from or about Pakistan's a huge deal, because we know for the fact that Al-Qaeda and ISIS have been friends inside Pakistan intelligence agencies. So revealing sources and methods would get a lot of people undercover or working with those groups killed. And lo and behold, who was our Veep when China got information to kill our Chinese spies? Give you a hint. He pooped his pants today. Who could that be? It's Joe. Jesus Freak says the USA is a constitutional republic, not a democracy. Yeah, tell that to the Democrats. They cannot understand it for whatever reason. Salty Sarge says Comer and his committee were in Manhattan on Thursday morning. They didn't have the hearing that blew up until 8 p.m. Hangry and missed happy hour. They should have thrown a box of Snickers at the Democrats. Yeah. Is that what it was? They were all just up past their bedtime, maybe a little drunk or something. Who knows? Hey, travel agent Amy says, I love how Mama Govea keeps control of Robert. Thank you. She's great. She does. Absolutely. She does. Mama needs something. It's all right. Let's take care of it. What's up? I got a great mama. She's coming to Vegas with meatballs, 100 meatballs. What's up? Mr. Illusions says, why in the world has Congress not withdrawn all the funds from that state already? Well, because they need to investigate it some more and see if there's really a problem there. Let them figure out their funding on their own. That includes the DOJ. Yeah, like I'm not a fan of federal funds coming back into states, but I'm also not a fan of states having to pay into federal funds. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if they're going to take our money, we better, like, I'd rather get the federal money coming back to the states than going to Ukraine all day. Like, what do you think we could have done with $60 billion? Anything useful here? Actually spent intelligently, not like Fani and her office. But I'd rather just us keep our own money because we can handle it better. If we don't have to pay into the federal coffers, then they don't have any money to give back to us. Yeah. What's up, Salty Sarge? Rob, great week of shows. You've definitely earned my 2 bits. Thank you, Salty. Nice of you to say that. Corn Pop may have been a bad dude, But Jim Jordan was not only a state champion, he was the NCAA Wrestling Champion of the Year. Wow. And that is a big deal. I've wrestled with NCAA wrestlers. I wrestled with a coach of mine who was a three-time NCAA champion. And they were just at a different level, totally wild. And then they were excellent, but not Olympian level. So it's just crazy. These guys are crazy. Jim Jordan's a fighter, no doubt. I get irritated by the letters, but I like Jim Jordan, even if I get mad at him a little bit. Hey, Rub Some Dirt on It says, Rob, bring on your Fani swag. I know I forgot to do the Fani swag section. While we were going through Fannyland, I forgot to put on my Fani swag. But it's super chat time right now, so that's good. All your super chats we're going to put in here for my Fani cash. So this is the Fanny pack that our friend Zach got us. So, all right, let's get back to some Fanny business here. Fanny swag. Here we go, baby. That's what it looks like. Man, it looks good. It looks so good on me. Ian Max here says Fanny's worried about people breaking in and taking the $300,000 that she keeps under the bed from getting $20 cash once in a while in Publix. Well, she should get a fanny pack and put it in here. This is where I put all my cash now, right in my fanny pack. What's up, Larry Smay? What's up, Larry? Thank you for becoming a supporter over on the YouTubes. We got Stephen M says Marjorie Taylor Greene needs to stop giving them easy goals. I think it was the personal name calling thing. It's kind of a rule, don't say that stuff in Congress. Here's one from Milo Phone Bill. Looks like a Where's Waldo, except this one's Where's Colangelo. I used to love these as a kid. Find them, search for them. Right there. Found them. Got it. Dolphin Fan is the man. Bringing in new membos. We got 10 new membos coming in, courtesy of Dolphin Fan is the man in the house. We got Neurotics here. Scott G, welcome. Foxy Dog. We got Angry Viking Veteran, Aging Cynic, Robert T, Golden Gaming, Sassy T. We got Toenail H, Greg E, and Kelly K all coming in, courtesy of Dolphin Fan is the man in the house. What's up, Melanie? Very nice comment. Nice dono. Thank you, Melanie, for this. It's a beautiful Friday. Thanks for joining us. Says, thank you for keeping us updated on all of these garbage cases, Rob. Love listening to you every day. I love our time together, Melanie. Really grateful to be able to go through all this madness together with you. So thanks for being here. And really thank you for that one. We got this one from Nick. Bringing in new membos. What's up, Nick B? Bringing in Sweet Tat. Coming in courtesy of Nick B in the house. Thank you, Nick, and welcome aboard. We got Salty. Says the resolution passed from Comer's committee. Comer added language not used for 100 years. It would authorize the sergeant at arms to gather Garland. If it passes a full House vote, failure to comply, they're going to go arrest him. Yeah, it was a comment that came up. It's like, who's going to arrest him? He's not going to arrest himself. The executive branch is not going to enforce that. So Congress would really be either to defund them or to send the sergeant at arms over. The Rubos shared this one from Marjorie. Says, hey, OC, bring it. This is from Baby Girl. Yeah, Marjorie can throw some weight around. I've seen her videos, man. She's a CrossFitter. So she's out there throwing some weight around. Looks like great form. Nice weight there. Well done, Marjorie. I support weightlifting, okay? We have to outlift the left. We have to be better looking than them, have better, stronger families, more clarity in our purpose and mission in life, stronger connections with our Creator, higher connection to our values, and outlift the crap out of the left. All right, what's up, Michelle P? Rob, do we know if Colangelo was working on the J6 or the documents case while still at the DOJ before the special counsel was set up? This would tie him to 3 of the indictments. It's a great question, Michelle P. And I've looked into it a little bit, and I don't have any hard connection there. Like, I don't know if Colangelo has fingerprints on the other cases, but I think Julie Kelly had a comment about it. She might have some more on that. She had I saw an X from her from @Julie_Kelly2 on X saying something to that effect. Like, she thinks she's seen some fingerprints from him on the classified docs case before he left Biden's DOJ. So I would, if I had to guess, I'd say probably some involvement, but I don't think he was actually assigned to them. Cowboy Rob, what's up? Is there a federal prosecutor above Letitia James that could step in? Well, the feds could indict her. She could always get indicted by the feds. Do you think that there's a reason Congress hasn't called Letitia to testify? Well, I don't know what she would come in and testify on, but she would testify that she did nothing wrong. So I don't know that Congress would call her. I mean, if the Democrats were in control of Congress, they might call her to say we're amazing, but Congress isn't going to get anything out of her other than just her, being stubborn, truthfully. Cowboy Rob, great question. Says, where is Georgia's attorney general? Seems to have his thumb shoved somewhere. Doesn't belong in there, in that location. So I don't know where it is. Good question. I don't know what he's doing. Seems like Fani might run Georgia, as far as I can tell. Even the governor, Kemp, was like, I better not comment on it to open case. Miss Ree, what's up, Miss Ree? Says, hello, Rob. Great coverage, smiley. Been watching you for a month, but I'm a 3-day-old membo. Welcome, Miss Ree. Awesome. I'm loving the chat comments. Happy to be here with common sense membos. Have a blessed weekend. What a nice thing to say, Miss Ree. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for jumping in. Sometimes it's hard to, kind of jump in there and get active when you're a new membo, because there's a lot of great membos in there. It can be a little intimidating for some people, but I'm glad that you did. Great to see you. I hope you have a blessed weekend. Very nice to see you. We'll see you in the morning for our members only stream, and we'll look forward to that one. Thank you, Miss Ree. Great comment. Eric Willison. What's up, Eric? No question from Eric, but a very nice dono on this beautiful Friday. Thank you very much, Eric. Glad that you made it by. Thanks for supporting us here. Voice says, remember when AOC said gas stoves lower your brain cells while she stood next to a gas stove? Rogan face. I don't remember that one specifically, but I do remember some of her other bonehead statements. Like, remember she was talking about Jewish space lasers and stuff like that? She's an interesting one. Crash, I wonder if Joe had his buddy Merrick Garland torch the audio in the video. Wouldn't put it past him. Don't want that getting out into the public domain. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking about if they had that backed up, hopefully it's on a Dropbox somewhere, so it doesn't go missing like other tapes and things that weirdly go missing. What's up? Rub some dirt on it. Says, hey, rub some dirt on it. Shout out to the Rubos. Man, the Rubos are great. So have you ordered some RubosSaltShop.com? I don't know what kind of salt you have, but it's time to class it up, okay? Take that Morton's garbage crap. Get rid of it. You need salt that comes from the bottom of the French Ocean, like Rubos does. Go to RubosSaltShop.com. They are awesome, and you can see Rub Some Dirt on it got his. It comes beautiful package, very nice. They're just awesome people, so go support them, and you'll be happy you did. What's going on? We got Cowboy Rob says, hello, AOC. Don't forget Marjorie has some guns on her. What's up? We got, Loser Elias is here. Says Marjorie Taylor Greene went into the location. That was bad. What's up, KT? Membo for 4 months says, don't forget to like the live button. And thank you for saying that, KT. And it's a good reminder. Thank you for liking this video, my friends. And KT, thanks for being a membo for 4 incredible months. This one from John. John E says, Marjorie Taylor gave them the same treatment they've been giving us, so just F it. Who even cares? Whatever. I'm kind of there. Let's just go blows, whatever. They all just spend anyways. They all just spend our money no matter what we do. So it's like pay-per-view. It's like a $60 billion pay-per-view, okay? We should at least get something out of it. And today was as close as we got. They're going to spend $100 billion a month on foreign wars. Like, at least let us get some action. Come on. What's up, Jennifer? Says, rolling on the floor, watching Rob with fanny pack around his neck, saying, we got to outlift the left. We got to outlift the left. We have to. I'm dead. It's just great. This fanny pack is amazing. Zach Nichols got it for us. I was laughing my butt off. It's my fanny pack, baby. Obviously, Team Fanny now. We have to outlift the left. We do. We have to be stronger than them. And one way we can do that is by lifting Fanny. Rubos, what's up? You guys are great. Rubos are in the house. Good to see the Rubos. They're great stuff, man. I got my salt. It's delicious. Put it on everything and class it up, my friends. Okay, so awesome comments. Thank you so much for sending those in. Great support. I'm always grateful for that. We have our friends on X that we'll say hello to before we go over to locals for our members only after party. To debrief the day's activities, who is joining us on X on the day? Hey, what's up? Rella Bella says false eyelashes are not part of one's body. That's an argument. Made is here. That was the most entertaining clip of Congress. Thanks for that one. Yes, wild. You think they'll start throwing shoes at each other? Rando's in the house. We got a wild comment from Shane. Shane says it's my birthday. So I'm out to dinner with my family. Happy birthday, Shane. Enjoy your dinner. Found a good meme. It's a pretty funny meme. It's a little spicy, so we'll leave that one there. And this one says, I'm surprised the segment title from Paul Mino. Oh gosh, Paul Mino. I'm surprised that one of your titles with Stormy Daniels didn't use the word scissors in it. You know, for cutting out some like the word scissors. Oh gosh, Paul Mino. For cutting out testimony. All right. So, my friends, those were the comments over on X. Thank you for following us and joining us over on X. Now, we are going over to watchingthewatchers.locals.com for our members only after party, our debrief. Come on over and join us or become a member on YouTube, and we'll see you tomorrow in the morning as well. We have robertgovea.com. If you want to go through any PDFs that we had here today, there were a bunch of them. We're going to post them at robertgovea.com. We have our show calendar is over there. We have our show reports that are over there and much more. We also have watcherlodge.com. We are not having a Sovereignty Saturday tomorrow. So if you were planning on joining us tomorrow, I know many were. I apologize. I have an event tomorrow, so we're going to just postpone tomorrow's Saturday to next Saturday so that we can attend the event. We have Watcher Meetup taking place, Trump Hotel, Las Vegas, June 29th. 2 days after the first debate. Going to be a ton of fun. If you want to register and you're definitely coming to Vegas, then go to watcherlodge.com and we're finalizing the details on that. But make sure you have a hard RSVP so I have a head count. But that, my friends, is it for us on the day. We are going over to locals. Before we do, want to thank our amazing mods and meme smiths who mod down the fort for us and keep things nice and orderly. Our friends K Bean in the house. What's up to Just Cause? We got Playin' Hooky. We have Ronnie Cole, Zach Nichols, Janek, Dog Digger, Economy Pilot, Donut Mind Me, Carrie B in the house. Our friends Sleepy Dogly, Nathan N810, Geegum Geegum, Glocky McGlock, and our Doc Master Elliot. All keeping this show nice and orderly and tidy and beautiful. But that, my friends, is it for us on the day and on the week. We'll be back tomorrow for Membos on the Saturday stream. But if we don't see you there, well, I hope to see you back here next week. We're going to unplug for the weekend, get outside, get some fresh air, spend some time with our friends, the family that we love, restoring our energy tanks, rejuvenating our spirits so that we can come back here on Monday and get into this again. We're going to have Michael Cohen back on the stand for final day of testimony with closing arguments on Tuesday. And before we get into all of that on Monday, we're going to need to see you right back here so that together, with your help, we can shine that big, beautiful spotlight of accountability and transparency down upon our system with the hope of finding justice. Make it a beautiful night, my friends. An amazing weekend. I'll see you right back here on Monday. Bye-bye.